Hello friends, Adam here with FED. Today we're going to be ranking the characters in Fire Emblem Engage. Now I've only played through the game once at this point. It was on maddening, so that's my only experience with the game. But I think I have a pretty good feel for a lot of the units, so be gentle in the comments with your criticisms. But please do share them. Just recognize that I do know that this is a very rough idea of what is good and what's not. So let's take a look here at what we have, shall we? Oh, and spoilers for every character in the game. We're going to be tiering all the playable characters, so if you don't want to be spoiled on late game characters and ones you haven't gotten yet, now's the time to click away, or at least I'll tell you when to click away, because for now I'll be doing all like the early game chronological order, or try to do them in somewhat of chronological order as we go along. And we're using fetierlistmaker.github.io if you want to use this tier list maker yourself. I'll put the link to it in the description. Okay, Alear. The Alears. I think female Alear. I think they're both amazing. I think it's not even a question. Both amazing. I've seen a lot of talk of them being less than good because they don't deal enough damage or whatever. But their personal skill is incredible. +3 damage that comes into effect after all damage calculations are done is really good. They're also a dragon type, or one of only 2 units who can access the dragon typing, which means they are really good with emblems. So being engaged for them is extra powerful, right? I put a female Alear just like barely above male Alear because of all the female-based skills in the early game, especially stuff from what's his face, Louis, Chloe, also does some stuff with that. So. And then there's also Marin, where some gender stuff matters. Ultimately, either one's great, though. I think you could be fine with either one. I played through with male Alear, and I never really felt that big of a difference. But yeah, I think female is just like slightly better. Also, if you want early flyer access, female Alear can do that while male can't. So that's a thing. Vander. Okay. Vander is hard for me to tier, and here's why. Vander is an incredibly useful unit to have until, like, I don't know, chapter 9, maybe chapter 8 or 9. Kind of like mid Brodia. I feel like he starts to really fall off. But until then, he's really good with really high HP. That's really his thing. It's the high HP, so he can like tank hits for you. So in the early game, he on maddening at least, he feels vital. I don't think it's. I'm sure people do it without him. But he makes it so much easier that I can't imagine doing it with anyone else. So my initial thought is to put him in like great, just because of that early game contribution. But I understand that he falls off. So I don't really have a good tier for him because he's such a unique case here. I'm going to put him in great though. Just with the idea that he helps so much in early game. That's really it. Clan. He needs work, but I think he needs work, but can be okay. That's kind of like my thought on him. Statistically, he's going to be lacking, and his personal skill is all right. You know, being able to buff the Divine Dragon, being able to buff Alear with +10 hit is nice. That's probably my least favorite of the 3 because Alear tends to have pretty good hit rates. Like I prefer Alabaster Duty from Vander, which is +5 crit, which again not very impactful but good. And then also from our next character, Fram, who I think needs work, but good. I think Fram, the fact that she joins as an early staff user is incredible. So it's a free experience, number 1. Number 2, you just need a healer at that point. And being able to, I don't know, break some stuff that you normally wouldn't be able to with her Chi Adeptness is cool and all. As far as combat goes, she's not that great, but as far as a healer goes, she's pretty awesome. I like her a lot that way. And I think she can turn into something pretty good if you want to spend the time in it. Also, I really like Crimson Cheer. If unit is adjacent to the Divine Dragon, grants Avoid plus Den during combat to both of them. And something I noticed in this game is that dodge tanking is back. It's kind of a thing again. It's cool. Is it perfect? Is it the super like safest way to go about things? No. But it's fairly reliable. Fairly reliable, especially if you're willing to use time pulses. Okay. Alfred. Alfred, by my estimation, he's one that I don't have a ton of experience with. He's kind of useful while you have him. I think he needs work, but it's like, he's just like, okay. You know, he's not going to be super stand out to me. His personal is a waste of space, right? Statistically, I think he's like, I think he can end up fine, right? I don't know. If you look at his growth rates, they're fine. His base stats are also like, okay-ish. He's a little slow for my taste. And his class gives pretty solid growths to start. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion on Alfred at this point, but I think I'll just put him in needs work but okay. Like, he's okay. Yeah. All right. Bougeron. The Bouge himself. Am I right, fellas? He has the distinction of being the only early game backup unit. And backup is really good. It's like later. I don't think in early game it matters as much, especially when HP values are like in the 20s and 30s on the enemies. So your backup is dealing 2 or 3 damage, which that's still 10% of their HP. But later on when they're dealing, 7 and 8, that feels just a little more impactful. I'm not the biggest fan of Bougeron, I'm gonna be honest. I think more than anything, he's a meme. He's just the big guy who cries and people think that's cute or something. He hits decently hard. He does get to use axes to start off, but he's just kind of he's just kind of a goofy unit. Not the biggest fan of him. Etier has the benefit of coming as a covert, and here's the thing: it's really easy to change class in this game, like really easy. As long as you have a second seal, it's like basically free. So I do give points though, especially for these early game units for the typing they have, and covert is really good. It just is. It allows you to dodge tank fairly well. But early game dodging is not as good. I have a hard time with her. Her personal skill is basically non-existent. Doesn't matter. I feel like if you wanted to use her, you should probably reclass her into something else. I don't really know though. She's one I don't have a ton of experience with either. So I'm gonna say that, I don't know. I'm gonna just put her here with Alfred. Put her in the needs work, but it's okay because she can contribute, but she's not like insane. All right, Saline is going to be our next great. I think Saline. I'm tempted to put her in amazing. Honestly, I think Saline's really good. This could be biased because she performed really well in my playthrough of Maddening, but it was fixed growth, so it's kind of like her average how she'll turn out, and she only used her personal classes, so it's not like I did anything crazy. And she only got like 1 or 2 spirit dust throughout the playthrough, so that's cool. Gentle Flower is better than you would think. Getting a 50% HP boost to your healing items while near her is honestly pretty good. I actually like that a lot more than I thought I would. It ended up being pretty useful, I thought at least. She ends up being a solid, honestly, a fairly solid hybrid class with swords and tomes, and then promoting into a unit that can use staves, which is really good. Her personal skill, again, I mentioned Gentle Flower is actually pretty sick. I think I would ultimately say I'm tempted to put her in amazing, but I'll say great for now. She does need work to get there, but if you get her there, she can be really good. I would say just stick 11 sword on her, and she'll be very useful for almost the entire playthrough. Especially end game where there's a lot of really high defense enemies, and 11 sword is like just the trick to deal with them. And even if they're using an axe, you can break them and attack safely a second time. So that's cool. Louis. Louis is going to go on amazing. I didn't use him. I didn't use him in my first playthrough, but based on anecdotal evidence or anecdotal, just stories from other people, Louis is kind of insane. Having a really good tank in Engage sounds incredibly nice. Coming from a guy who played Maddening and relied mostly on dodge tanking throughout the game, I'm excited to play through it again and not do that, and use Louis with like Sigurd or something to buff his move and also his defense a little bit. Sounds really fun. So Louis is apparently, and again, I looking at his stats and everything, I believe it. He's really, really good. And his personal is better than you would think. Admiration, if 2 female allies are adjacent within 2 spaces, this unit takes 2 less damage. Early game, that's awesome. And honestly, it's pretty easy. A lot of the unit diversity in this game, I think it's split pretty 50-50. I'd have to go through and actually count. But it feels like a lot of the units are female, especially a lot of the ones that I end up using. So maybe again, that might be like confirmation bias. But I do think Louis is pretty solid, and maybe even just better than the Illyrs. Maybe one of the best units in the game. As of right now. Again, I don't know. I don't have a ton of experience with it. But from everything that I can see, Louis seems really good. Because being able to tank in the endgame would be really nice. Especially if you get Parrot from Corn or something to just like really solidify him as an enemy face tank. It'd be really good. Alright, Chloe. I think Chloe is a top tier unit for sure. Being able to fly is awesome. But she also can take it. But she's just like statistically good overall. Her growth rates are just solid across the board. Her magic's actually pretty solid too, if you wanted to know. I think she's tied for the highest speed growth, personal speed growth in the game. So whatever class you have her in, she's going to be really fast, and that's really nice. With a good engrave, you can make sure she dodges everything pretty early, and even without that, she'll be fairly dodgy and honestly just really good movement. And she pairs really well with a lot of different emblems. I think Lynn would be fine on her, or someone like obviously I used her with Edelgard and she was incredibly good, but I think Edelgard just kind of makes everybody good. I think the same might go for Lynn a little bit, but I think she'd be a solid pick for just about any emblem you want to throw on her. Even magic, you could go magic Chloe and it'd probably be okay. Base stats wise, I don't think she has the greatest magic 4, but with her growth, and if you put her in a magic based class, her magic would get there. Yeah, I like Chloe a lot. I think she's going to be seen by a lot of people as one of the best units in the game. Yeah, in before this, in before this ages poorly. All right, Yunaka. I know a lot of people like Yunaka, and I think she is. I think she's great. You know what? I think she needs work, but is really good. I think she needs work, but is really good. She needs, and I mean need, she desperately needs a forged knife to be able to, or I guess dagger. She needs a forged dagger to be able to deal significant damage. She needs a good refine on that dagger to either help her dodge tank or just to kill things. So one or the other. And honestly, her speed can be lacking a little bit. Towards the end game, she doesn't quite keep up with characters like Lapis or Chloe, who have the best speed growth in the game, or even end up slower than like Illyr in some cases, even, which it can be a little disheartening. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like that. But I think that's partially because of like, I don't know, what are Thief's growth rates? Yeah, Thief only gives 15 speed, which is like good. It's not the best though. There's some classes that give 20. Honestly, like, her speed should be fine, but it's like, I don't know. I just found her not doubling towards the end of the game, which was really annoying. Where I had units like Chloe and Lapis, who are like the fastest units in the game, who were doubling. So it's hard to, I don't know. It's hard for me to like say otherwise there. Her personal skill is one of note, I think. Being able to deal, it's 15% crit when standing on an avoid tile, essentially. And she should almost always be in an avoid tile. People really like Corrin on Yunaka, which I can see that because, you know, she just gives herself plus 60 avoid every turn with Vein of Fog. And you could even do something crazy like plus 120 avoid if you put her on a forest and then use Vein of Fog, which is just stupid. But the problem with that is that her evade can get high enough to where enemies won't actually target her. So you need to watch out for that. But without terrain, her avoid just isn't there. Doesn't quite get there. She would need some help from like Marth and like avoid plus 10 or 15 or 20. My favorite build for her personally is to throw Lucina on her or any dagger unit really, and use so that they have dual assist plus and all that, and also are able to be backup units while being a covert as well. I think that's incredibly potent. Yeah, I think she's good, but she definitely needs some work put into her to make her a very solid unit. Okay. Jean, I have literally zero experience with Jean. My like summation is that like if you put the work into him, he's probably going to turn out pretty solid. I'll put him like here. I don't know anything about him other than his like growths and like I know like his like information, his data, but I haven't used him, and it's kind of hard to judge a unit when you haven't used them at all. You know, my feel is that getting him started is miserable, but once you do, he becomes kind of insane. Especially if you have the DLC and pair him with like the Tiki Ring, I've heard is a pretty fun pairing for him because it allows him to make use of expertise and then also Tiki's ability that gives extra stats, or not extra stats, but essentially makes your level ups better, right? Increases your growth rates. So that's kind of crazy. And the fact that his personal doesn't double like his personal growth or anything like that, it doubles class growth rates. Basically makes it so you can do whatever you want with him. So I think that's kind of cool. Like just casually throw him into, you know, Axe Fighter or something to get a cool. In Axe Fighter, he gets plus 40 strength growth. And then if you get him into Berserker, it's plus 60. Like, it's kind of silly stuff like that. It seems like he can be really good, but again, I have zero experience with him. So it's hard for me to really say. All right, Anna. Anna, again, this is another one that, to my knowledge, I didn't touch her. And I didn't know this at the time when I was playing through the game. But looking at her stats and stuff now, it appears she has a 50% personal magic growth, which, wouldn't you know, is kind of insane. And from what I can see quickly looking, is the highest in the game. So she starts off as an axe unit, but don't use her like that. Put her in a mage class, and apparently she pops off. Because like in mage, I believe that brings her up to a 65? 65% growth in magic, which yeah, when you get a unit this early, their growth rates do matter quite a bit, I feel like. Mage gives 25, so yeah, it gets up to 75. And Sage gives 30, so that's 80. That's kind of a lot of magic growth. So if you're playing on fixed, she's going to be getting magic, 4 out of 5 level ups or so, which is just kind of stupid insane. Or if it's 75, it's 3 out of 4 level ups. Very good. Very good in that way. So if you put the work into her, she ends up being great, probably. Alchrist. I wish I would have used him more because I really liked him to start, but I kind of benched him when I got Fogado. But I think he's great. Covert's awesome. I really like Covert. I think archers in this game are pretty solid in general. He also gets Luna, which can stack with things like Lynn's. Like anything multi-hit, Luna can work with multiple times, right? So even something like with Sigurd, he can use Luna can happen on every unit you hit. Or with Lynn, again, like I said, any of those 5 attacks can use Luna as well. So that's cool. I like that. That's kind of a fun thing. I think he starts off good, kind of outclasses Etier instantly, and is from what I can see, can be a solid unit throughout the game. Lapis. Okay, Lapis is probably my favorite unit at this point to use, and I understand that she's not actually that good. Like I'll give it up, you know. I'll put her here with like Yunaka. I feel like she needs like the same amount of work as Yunaka to end up being good. Her problem is her strength. Her strength is never going to be great unless you really like boost it with some stats, or you throw her into something like, I don't know, Berserker or something and have her level in that. But then you kind of lose out on what makes her best, which is her speed. Lapis's speed is tied for the highest growth in the game, which again, get early joining unit, growths are nice to keep in mind. But that really works well with her personal. This is a personal, not enough people talk about her personal skill, which is share spoils. If there is an ally within one space, grants hit and avoid plus 10 at the cost of crit minus 10 to unit. So pair that with someone who's using, like Yunaka or someone else who's using the Corn Emblem with like Vein of Fog or just any other high dodge unit. She just gets even dodgier, which is really good. Yeah, losing 10 crit is kind of annoying, especially I feel like she really wants a crit build, but yeah, I think she's good if you put the work into her, but she's not like insane. She's not great. I get the same impression from Citrine. That's another one that I didn't really touch much, but based on what I can see from her growths and everything, I think she has the potential to really pop off, especially if you give her like the Olin S ring or the Dire Thunder ring. Be really good. I mean, that's good for any mage, but I feel like her in particular, with her, I believe her growth rates as far as magic are actually pretty solid, right? Yeah, she's a 40 personal growth in magic, which looks like is tied for second. Oh no, it's not quite second highest. It's tied for third highest in the game, which is really good. So she's going to be gaining magic fairly consistently throughout your playthrough. And again, joins early, so growths are good. Yeah, I think you need to put some work into her, but she's good. I'm tempted to throw her into great, honestly, because she starts off pretty good anyways. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, I think Citrine has a lot of potential. All right, Diamant, or Diamant. I always say his name wrong. Diamond, Mr. Diamond here. This might make some people mad or turn some heads or something. I don't think he's that good. And the main reason being, you know, I'll put him here, like needs work, but okay. His dexterity is garbage. His dexterity is absolute trash, bro. Hitting things is not his strong suit. In a game where hitting things allows you to kill things. So, I mean, you want to be using something that gives him, you want to put him in a class that gives him like a solid dex, at least like cap. Because the problem with his, I'm pretty sure the cap for the successor class is like 22 or something like that, which is just not enough dexterity to be super reliable throughout the game. I think he can be great, or even be, I would just say he can be okay, but he needs work. People really like to put with him with like Ike or something, and then he can grade Aether all over the place. That's the saving grace of this game for people with bad hit, is that using engage attacks don't use your dex, you know, don't use your hit rate essentially. They're 100% hit all the time. So that's cool. All right, Amber. This is one, the Amber seems like he should be good, right? I didn't touch him. I didn't use him at all because I didn't like him. I thought he was annoying, so I benched him pretty quick. But he joins with like 15 strength, which is like crazy. It joins with more strength than Diamant. And that alone is really, really awesome, you know, because damage is good. His defense starts off like decent-ish. I don't even know what his personal skill is. Aspiring Hero. If no other units are within one space that grants hit plus 20 at a cost of avoid minus 10. Blech. Gross. I hate that. Avoid is a good thing. And hit plus 20 on a lot of units is overkill. Maybe it's not overkill on him then. Maybe his dex is bad. I don't know. Yeah, not the biggest fan of Amber, but I understand that he's probably okay. Like he probably needs some work, but is like he probably ends up pretty good. We'll put him like here. All right, Jade. Trying to like, she joins way later than Louis, and her stats are only like slightly better, right? So it's kind of like she's like the Louis replacement is kind of how it goes. I still think she's great because Armor Knights, not like avoiding breaks and then also just tanking things is nice. But she's no Louis. We'll just say that. Okay, Ivy. Ivy's a hard one for me to tier. She struggles to kill things. That's her biggest problem. She struggles to kill things on Maddening. But she can use staves right from the get-go. And staves are really powerful in this game. Grasping Void is honestly okay-ish. It doesn't deal a ton of damage, extra damage, but it activates relatively often. I think it's a dex % chance of happening. That could be wrong. I think she is like, I don't know. I think she at least belongs in Great, like above Saline. I'm tempted to put her in Amazing because she doesn't need any work. She don't need to really do anything to her. Give her a Master Seal and she's good to go for the rest of the game. That's all she needs is a Master Seal. And she'll be a solid contributor always. And Flying Magic User is awesome. So, I think I'm struggling. I think I'm going to say Amazing because Flying Magic User who doesn't need like any work. She's just a solid contributor the entire game. no matter what. Give her the Master Seal and you're good to go. Kagetsu. Kagetsu is here, right? He's a unit that exists. I do like his stats when he joins. You know, he joins pretty freaking strong, and even if you're like building up someone like Lapis or even like Diamant, Kagetsu's probably better. I'm gonna put him in like top of grade. He joins really well, and by really well I mean really strong, and it's just solid. Zelkov to me is kind of similar to just like Yunaka, but maybe slightly better. I like his personal more than Yunaka's. Let me read it to you guys really quick so I don't not quite, it's called. If foe initiates combat, inflicts hit -10 on that foe during combat. So I wonder if the enemy would take this into account before choosing to attack him, which is kind of funny because if you get to 0 hit, enemies tend to avoid you or like just not attack you at all. So if you have the hit -10 that comes into effect after they choose to attack you, that'd be pretty cool. Anyways, yeah, I prefer him. It's like an extra 10 avoid essentially, which is nice whenever he gets attacked. And for a dodge tank like a thief wants to be, that's good. Again, he needs like he'll want to give him like a forged dagger of some kind that's really good, but otherwise, just kind of like a similar, really it's just a similar unit to Yunaka, honestly. All right, Fogado. Fogado is interesting. I think he is, honestly, he's pretty great. I think he is pretty great. He doesn't need a lot of work. But I'm going to put him in the top of needs work to but good. Because I think he does, like, you do give him the Master Seal, and that's fine. But then I think he does need he needs some solidly forged bows to make good work of him, personally. And then Radiant Bow is also good on him. I like that. All right, Bune. Bune is another one I don't have a lot of. The only time I used him was in the chapter he joins. I don't think he... don't think he's that great. Don't think he's that great. I like his defense. 20 defense is pretty solid. I do like that. Yeah, 20 defense is pretty sick. His personal skill is garbage, though. I know that. His personal skill is seconds. On eating a packed lunch, you may obtain another of the same item. But it's just like, why? That's so dumb. Yeah, I'm gonna put him in kind of bad. I don't think he's worth using. He's a great cook, though. Use him on the Psalm for cafe thing. Pandreo Amazing. Doesn't need any work and contributes the entire game. As soon as he joins, he is battle ready for endgame even. Incredible unit because he's a staff bot. Tamara, I think she needs work but is okay. Don't have a lot of experience with her, but I wasn't impressed by her stats. Panette, I've been told she's insane, but I have like no experience with her at all. I'm gonna say she's like... I will trust the people that told me she's great and put her in great. That's really what it comes down to. Marin, I want to put her in amazing, but I'm going to go top of great. I think Marin joining as a Wolf Knight is really cool. Wolf Knights are just like solid units in general. Her personal is also really cool. I like it's called Knightly Escort. When 2 or more female allies are within 2 spaces, grants hit avoid +5 to unit and those allies. So it's a small buff, but you know this game is like has a lot of chances to stack hit and avoid buffs. It's just another one you can add on to it. That's not, and like you would think like, oh, 2 or more female allies are within 2 spaces. How often does that happen? A lot, turns out. Happens a lot, it turns out. It's a pretty common thing to happen. All right, Hortensia. I didn't use her at all, but just based on her kit, she's got to be amazing, right? With how good staffs are, she's got to be amazing. Extra range on your staves is just insane. Seadoll, obviously amazing. I'll just put him like here. Rosado, I feel like needs work and ends up just being like, okay. I think the same goes for Goldmary. They both are just like okay units. Linden is a meme if I've ever seen one. People like him with the Dire Thunder ring, and that's about it. Saphir? I'm gonna be honest, I think Saphir's kind of bad, guys. Saphir's kind of bad. Like, if you were to put in a lot of work into her, she could be good. But she's definitely like kind of a cruddy replacement unit, I think, is the way it works. So, yeah. Okay, now it's time for spoiler characters. Big spoiler characters. If you don't want to see these spoiler characters, click away. Oh, they didn't even list the spoiler characters. Wow. Look at them. Look at them. They're so forward thinking. Okay, well, I'll just say it. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna bear with me. Bear with me. Yeah, so I'm gonna be snagging. These aren't gonna fit and they're gonna look goofy, but I'm gonna grab pictures of these two characters. It's gonna look super goofy. Sorry about this. I'm not proud. Please work. Thank you. I was like, I have to find a PNG version. Alright, Mavier. Mavier is like, I don't know, where would we put him? I don't know. I'd probably put him in like, I don't know, man. I feel like he joins. I almost need a new tier. You know what? I hate to do it. I hate to do it this late, but I need to. I need a new tier. This is the joins late. Joins late and okay. Joins late and okay. That's Mavier. He joins late and he is like the definition of okay. He can fill a slot in your team if you need him to, and that's about it. You know, he's a staff bot out of 10. And now for the last, again, spoiler warning. This is a big one. Big, fat spoiler warning. No, PNG, please. Please. Yeah, there we go. Again, it's going to look goofy, but here you go. There she is. Veil. She's playable. She's playable. And she's going to be very small. I think she's also a joins late and is okay. I could see her being really good like for like post-game content. But as she joins, she just kind of gets one-shot by everything. And her damage doesn't make up for it. In my opinion. She's fun to use though, because dragons are cool. I like dragons. But dragons. Okay, there you go. There's my tier list. This is the first one I've ever made for this. So it may, there's going to be a lot of changes. I play the game more. Don't judge it too harshly, but please share your thoughts in the comments. What's wrong about this tier list? Am I crazy? I'm sure I am to some of you. Make sure to share your thoughts. Please do. Please do. Anyways, thanks for watching. Subscribe, comment, and do all those things you're supposed to do. Thanks for watching.